Nitro number 200, July 19th, 1999. Recap of Hulk Hogan beating Randy Savage for the world title last week. And a recap of Sting destroying Ric Flair and his crew, leading to tonight's Sting-Flair match with control of the company at stake. Scott Hudson was doing commentary instead of Tony Schiavone. I don't think it was explained why, but
he's there now.
He's just okay.
He did a really good job.
Yeah.
This is what my patience is like here nowadays. He's doing a very good job. I'm happy as a clam. And then during the Vampiro match, he mentions that there was a stiff kick.
Yeah.
And I was done with him. That's where my patience is nowadays. You say one stupid thing as a commentator, I never want to hear you again.
His big thing, Scott's on this show, was he was doing what Eric Bischoff was last week, which is don't leave a second of dead air. Pathological fear of dead air. Whenever anyone stopped in a promo to breathe in or collect their thoughts, he'd have to say something to fill that space.
Yes.
Video recap of Ric Flair becoming president and going crazy, leading up to tonight's match with Sting. And no, you're not hallucinating. I did just say the same thing twice because it aired twice. Sid comes out for a promo. Takes a long time to get down to that ring.
He was getting a lot of heat. This was a hot show, hot crowd.
It was a hot crowd.
Yeah.
He gestures for silence and patiently waits for it. Finally.
Stop right there. This guy is Sid Vicious, otherwise known as Psycho Sid.
Yeah.
He's a crazy man. He's a psychopath. He's a madman. He patiently waits for the crowd to calm down. And then as he's cutting his promo, every time he mentioned his name, he politely called him Mr. Hogan. Every time. He's the most polite psychopath I've ever in the history of anything.
Hannibal Lecter is awfully polite.
Not this polite.
So, Sid runs down Hogan.
Mr. Hogan.
Mr. Hogan. He promises Mr. Hogan will admit that Sid is the master and ruler of the world. And then, as I wrote here, he politely turned the mic off, set it down, and left.
Where's he going?
What's happening?
You put in the wrong hole again. Every time. I was right earlier. You'd have been better off.
You know,
watching Raw.
We could have done that, and nobody
watching
would
Raw.
have ever known.
That's what that was.
There's cameras here, man.
Watching Raw.
There's one camera, and Rob doesn't have to turn it on me.
Yeah, he does. He's Rob. He knows good video. Oh,
Apparently, you know good radio. Drawing attention to everything.
This guy's doing something funny. I'm going to film it. He's jamming that thing into that hole.
Craig tried to creep across the table.
I was doing a fine job till I was called attention.
You realize
to.
there's a camera there, and they're wide angle going like this. So your giant head scooting
Rob,
in right there.
did you see me at all?
Actually, no. It was actually on
All right, suck it.
Why'd you have to bring attention to it then, Craig? We were doing just fine. Go ahead, Vinny. Continue.
So Sid politely turns the mic off and sets it down, and he leaves. The Nitro girls come out and dance for a while. Does anything happen on the show? We were like 12 minutes in, and nothing had actually happened yet.
What are you talking about? We had a Sid promo.
It's a Sid promo.
He had a great promo last week. I gave it a chance. Wasn't that good?
He had a Fit Finley versus Jerry Flynn match.
Okay. This is another one of those shows where I did not miss a week, but I feel like I've missed 10 years. What is that?
My phone's way over here.
Get it off the table. Yeah.
Is that it?
It was your phone.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's always here.
Well, someone was texting you or something.
That may be it.
Anyway. Since when is Jimmy Hart in the First Family running roughshod over WCW?
Last week.
Jimmy Hart in the First Family?
Yes.
When?
They were presenting a trophy.
I remember that. But
And-
they're like a big time faction all of a sudden.
The segment ended last week with Jimmy Hart stealing the trophy and his men fighting off the Europeans.
Well, here he is. Jimmy Hart of the First Family here in 1999 has stolen the trophy.
The hardcore trophy.
He happily explains, I'm going to bring it to Sturgis, South Dakota. Come get it.
That is what happened. Dude, that's not the silliest thing that happened to Jimmy Hart in this segment. So,
Yeah.
The best is what you're trying to say.
So Finley and Jerry Flynn are doing this match. Quick comment on the match itself. I think Finley, there's no one who entertains me more doing basic things than Fit Finley. I love watching Fit Finley do elbow drops. I love watching Fit Finley do body slams. They're all awesome. So they're having this fun mean guy match. And every 2 or 3 minutes, Jimmy Hart reappears in the screen. He's in the parking lot outside the building. And he reappears in the big screen to taunt Finley. And finally, Finley can take no more. And he goes charging out in the back to get his trophy. Jimmy Hart is alerted that Finley is coming to murder him. His plan is, I'll go hide under this bus.
Now, conveniently, there was a drop cloth under the bus where Jimmy could roll on the cement without getting his nice tuxedo
Yes.
dirty.
Well, can I examine this incident that happened
That's
here?
what we're here for, yeah.
Okay, so at first, it was hilariously stupid. This guy's coming to get me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hide under the bus with this giant trophy that ain't going to fit underneath
And
the
the
bus.
final shot was him. He was mostly under the bus, but his
Yes.
hand was sticking out trying to pull the trophy in.
He was literally throwing himself under the bus.
So,
Yes.
so that's ridiculous.
Right.
But then the whole point was by getting stuck under a bus, this brilliant plan here.
Yeah.
Finley was slowed down, and so the first family
Yes.
was able to jump him.
Right.
It's a trap.
It was actually genius, as preposterous as it appeared.
Mouth of the South, Admiral Akbar here.
Yes. Bobby noted he's the smartest manager I've ever met, aside from myself.
Yes. So yeah, the first family beats the hell out of Finley for some time, actually. And suddenly, they just jump to the next segment. They don't fade to black. They don't go to commercial. There's no breakup. The beating is still going on, and suddenly here's Lenny and Lodi with no shirts,
Yeah.
sitting at a table with J.J. Dillon.
They're having a contract discussion, and they show up shirtless.
Yes, for their business negotiations.
Sure.
Because as it turns out, Lenny and Lodi's contracts have expired. And it is up to J.J. Dillon to determine whether or not they will remain employed.
This was a hell of a negotiation, I might add. Nothing about, you guys haven't done jack shit.
You
You've
lose
barely
all the
been
time.
on TV.
Yeah.
We're paying you hundreds of thousands of dollars to do nothing. JJ's big deal is your signature's weird.
That's what he said.
We never found out why it was weird.
No.
Like, were there hearts on it?
Maybe. So he asked them how long they thought they could get away with this. Like he wouldn't figure it out. He says, I'm not in the closet or something like that.
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
And then the big reveal is, we all know you guys are brothers. And that's it. They've been brothers this whole time.
No, Vinny. No, you're confused.
Gay brothers? Weird.
JJ Dillon thinks they're brothers, but they are gay.
Aha!
Because when you watched it, you could see them getting more and more nervous. And then when he finally says you're brothers, they're like,
I did miss this.
yes. So the storyline is...
That actually makes me happy because what they're doing as a gay couple is fine.
Yes.
If they were brothers, it'd be very creepy.
Well, yeah. Yeah, so they're gay, but everyone, including the idiot announcers, thinks they are in fact brothers.
I see.
Which begs the question, how do they sign these contracts? Lenny and Lodi Lane?
I suppose. So they signed the new contracts. They are still employed. Thank goodness. Mean Gene brings out Hogan for Mr. Hogan for a promo.
Thank you.
And Hogan, he was Hogan. He said, I'll beat Sid tonight. I'll beat Kevin Nash at Sturgis.
Cut a babyface promo. He figured it was time to turn his life around. This isn't his first time around the block. He knew he'd win that title. The big dogs were going to come after him. Roman Reigns shout out here in 1999. And he says, Sid has one part of the whole equation wrong. I was like, I want to see Sid's equation. That's what I'd like to see.
The Big Bang Theory starring Sid.
Yeah, he vowed Sid would be vowing that Hogan was the man.
Please show your work, Mr. Sid.
Sid.
Yes.
Sting Flair hype video. No, you're not misremembering things. They aired the exact same video a third time now in this show.
Tonight's video.
Lodi versus Norman Smiley.
Fuck
As I wrote here,
this match.
every bit as shitty as you would expect.
Lodi is so lucky they re-signed before this fucking match.
Yes.
Because if J.J. Dillon would have seen this, it's terrible. Like, I'm sure that Norman Smiley's a nice guy. This is 19 years later. This dude's a trainer at the Performance Center. I watched this match and like, are you fucking kidding me? This match was terrible. The finish, he either fucked it up twice or it looked like it was fucked up. Either way, don't do that. And ICP's in the building, they announced. Randomly.
The only thing I can say in Norman's defense, it looked like he was working as slow as possible so as not to outpace Lodi, but he couldn't do it. Norman at his slowest speed was still too fast for Lodi to keep up with.
I was going to make a comment about the Rock and Roll Express, but they had more speed than both of us in that match.
I imagine they did.
Saturday night, now that I think about it.
Yeah. So this did in fact suck, and they did fuck up the finish horribly twice. The wacky roll up into a submission. They just ended up randomly in the ropes. So Norman did a wacky roll up into a pin instead. And Lenny and Lodi were so broken up by this loss that they danced with Norman afterwards.
They did the big wiggle. I think it was by themselves. Norman left.
Norman kind of started with them, and then they weirded him out.
He left them to wiggle with each other.
That's what happened, yes. For the fourth fucking time in 40 minutes, we saw this goddamn Sting Flair video. What is happening? Do they think millions of people are tuning in every quarter hour, multiple times per quarter hour to watch this show? At last we had the match, so I was at least sure I would not have to see that video again.
Anyone time this?
I did not know.
I'm guessing it was around
7 or 8 minutes?
I believe Dave said 8 minutes, but this felt like it went at least 15. Am I wrong?
It felt that way. It was a good match, though.
It was a good match, but like they had a match and then a bunch of shit happened, and then they kept going.
Yes, this may be the problem. he may have called the match. He may have called the match when the bullshit started.
I see,
but it didn't officially end for several minutes after that.
Yes,
that's possible. So there was bullshit before the match started. Charles Robinson is the hand-picked ref of Ric Flair, so Sting grabs him and kills him with a Scorpion Death Drop. Now, Flair is the president of the company. If you attack his hand-picked ref, shouldn't that be a DQ?
Well, I presume it was before the match.
It was, but
well, then
Flair's in charge.
He is in charge, but
for this point. So another ref comes in, and
if you're going to go that far, Vinny, then why wasn't this a match where Sting was blindfolded and handcuffed?
I don't know.
Okay.
So the other ref came down, and then he got bumped several times too, and finally Arn takes the ref out, Sting takes out Arn, Sid attacks Sting, and this all feels like a finish, and Flair puts him in the figure four, and you're thinking one way or another they're going to finish this off right now. No, it went like 5 minutes after that. Asia gets involved. The ref
ref bump.
For the third time in this match alone, and Sting puts Flair in the Scorpion, and Eric Bischoff...
Can we talk about that very quickly? Mm-hmm. Flair does this every time. Sting lays him on his back, he straddles his legs, he puts one foot in the middle, he crosses the legs over, and Flair rolls right to his stomach. Flair's on his stomach. Sting hasn't even stepped over him yet.
See.
He turned over like an hour early. And Sting, like the guy turned over, but Sting's like, I'm going to fucking play to the crowd. You turn over if you want. And he looks around. Hey! Flair's on his stomach selling, and Sting's just standing over him. And finally Sting steps over the guy.
It's Sting and Flair. So, the ref is out. Sting is the Scorpion. Bischoff hits the ring. He's at the announce desk. He hits the ring, and he calls for the bell. No one rings the bell. He calls for the bell. No one rings it. He calls and calls and calls. A minute goes by.
There was another finish earlier in the afternoon, and I guess nobody told the bell ringer. And there was so much bullshit going on that the bell ringer had no idea what was going on. And so Eric just goes like this, and he just sat there. And Eric's like, ring the bell! He just sat there. Eric's screaming at this guy to ring the bell. And finally the guy rings the bell.
Nitro.
It's kind of weird to see Sting, the babyface, attack Asia. Gave her the Stinger Splash.
She went after him first.
Okay.
It's 99, dude.
It was 90. Well, it was 99. It's Asia. She's bigger than most of the dudes anyway.
Sure, not bigger than Sting though.
Not bigger than Sting, but he whips her into the corner, and he looked at the fans, and the fans said, "Go for it."
All these fans wanted in the 90s was for women to get beat up.
Yeah.
That was the entire story of ECW.
Well, that's also true.
This had phenomenal heat.
It did. It really did.
Yes. And then Sid comes out. He wipes out Sting. He powerbombs Eric, and Hogan arrives.
God, did he powerbomb that guy?
Sid, powerbombed 100 dudes. This one, instead of like most powerbombs are straight vertical with the guy in front of you and basically he's crotch in your face, he lifts Eric up over like onto his shoulder, almost drops him. They're like behind him and then throws him down. Yeah, sucked to be Eric.
I thought that segment was great, despite all of the bullshit that we witnessed.
There's a very short list of bad Sting Flair segments. This was not one of them.
I don't think there's ever been one. I can't think of one.
It'd be hard to... There may never have been one.
Got to mention something, by the way, before we go into Rick Steiner versus Horace, which sunk this show for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking terrible. Coming after what we just saw. Like, literally the first thing that happens is people chant boring. Anyway,
That's too much credit.
A lot of talk over the years that in those final years of World Championship Wrestling, Bobby Heenan was drunk doing commentary.
Seem to recall that, yes.
Yeah, no. At the time, I never noticed this. I mean, part of it was I didn't start drinking until I was 30, so maybe I just didn't recognize a drunk guy on commentary. He was fucking plastered on this show. He was so drunk on this show. He's slurring his words. Now, the one good thing about Bobby Heenan being drunk is, boy, did he love this show. He's a happy drunk. He's so into this show. He's talking about Eddie Guerrero being his favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
He's into every segment. He's like screaming at big spots. He's going crazy. It's like, fuck, the guy should drink every week. Like, what are people upset about? It's a fucking big improvement over the usual shitty commentary. But yeah, he was plastered.
Well, Rick Steiner fought Horace.
Terrible.
It was no good. So they're brawling on the floor. And Horace wants to use a chair. So he tells the ref, go check the time. That ref walks over to the corner of the ringside area. He talks to the timekeeper, and they must not have seen each other in at least 10 years because they had a long conversation. They got reunited, man. Two old friends. So Horace is hitting him with his chair over and over again.
Maybe he felt he should get the time in every time zone.
Could be, yeah. He throws Rick in the ring. Now Rick takes the ref, and he has a chair as well. Nash runs out and lays out Horace and throws him into the ring. Steiner hits the diving bulldog for the win. Now I see in my notes here, I have repeatedly referred to Horace as Hogan and Hulk Hogan as Horace. So,
well, you're half right.
You can see how much attention I was paying.
Horace is Hogan.
So,
but Hogan is not Horace.
That is true. So Hulk Hogan comes out with a mic.
His third appearance on the show so far. We're like an hour and 10 minutes in. He's been on the show 3 times.
So he confronts Nash and says, I called you on the phone, brother. You said it was business. But this looks like it's personal.
Beat up Horace.
Yeah, his nephew.
It's very personal.
None of the announcers said this, but we know. And Nash says, it's business, and it's real personal.
No, first he goes, looks like I lied. Those are his exact words. Like, yeah.
I don't have the foggiest idea what's going on with Hogan and Nash now. They were feuding. They were buddies. They were in cahoots to fool all the fans. They've been buddies the whole time. Then now Hogan's back and now they're enemies. I don't know why.
Dude, when Nash just randomly showed up on this show as a heel, again, it was like, how many fucking shows did I miss? This guy was a top babyface a week ago.
Yeah.
Now he's the top heel.
Yes.
Solely, I guess, because Hulk Hogan is back and he's a heel and they're feuding. Or he's a babyface and they're feuding.
Makes sense.
I guess.
Stupid is what it is.
Eddie Guerrero in Psychosis. It was fine.
Eddie's put on like 20 pounds of sheer muscle.
Eddie's been lifting weights, taking
Sure.
supplements, yes. Nobody really cared. Psychosis would just do a big move, pick him up, do another move. Then Eddie comes back, hits a spinning backbreaker thing, and the frog splash, and he wins. Viano 5 and La Parka run out and attack Eddie. Ray Jr. makes a save. They clear the ring, and Ray and Eddie have a stare down, and eventually they shake hands.
This was good shit I wrote.
Yeah.
I must have liked it. They mentioned during this match that Arliss is here.
Yeah.
First off, not whatever his real name is.
Robert
Arliss.
Something, yes.
Robert Wool.
Robert Wool.
Arliss.
Robert Wool. Yeah. The character
is here.
For those of you who don't recall.
Playing the character.
Yeah. The character from an HBO fictional show was on Nitro as a fictional character.
And boy, was that the shittiest segment of all time later on.
Yep.
Stevie Ray tells the other B-teamers to watch his back while he deals with some fruit booties.
I can't believe that every time I had to write Arliss, I had to put the dollar signs in. I couldn't not. For a report that nobody's going to read except me. Why do I even remember that?
Crush.
I never
Because
watched the show.
It's the only person named Arliss in the history of the world, and so you assume everyone spells it that way.
That's probably true, yeah.
So Crush wants to know if Stevie Ray is still NWO Black and White or if Harlem Heat's back together. And it suddenly hit me here. We're in July of 1999 watching these shows. Bash at the Beach, when Hogan was the third man, was June 96. we are now going on year 4 of the NWO. It has
Yeah.
been 3 full years, and this stupid thing is still going on with no end in sight.
Yeah, speaking of Arliss, in Wheel of Fortune, you get to choose your letters, and there are certain letters that are more
Common.
than others. In this entire room, there's 5 grown men in this room. There's only one guy that has an S in his name.
Huh.
I was thinking about it if I had an S, I could turn it into a $sign for a gimmick, you know what I mean? And I was like, I don't.
Your daughter can.
Then I thought about Vinny, and then I thought about Craig, and I was like, what the fuck, Tony? Good thing Rob was here. It's a pretty common letter, S.
There's an S in Rob.
Wanska!
Okay.
I was talking first and last names.
See.
Now you just revealed his identity to the world.
I apologize for the spam and
Yeah.
junk mail you're about to get. Canyon versus Stevie Ray.
Dude, Canyon tried so fucking hard.
A little too hard, if you ask me.
He's a really bad wrestler, man.
And Stevie is fucking horrific.
Stevie is a parody of a pro wrestler. He would do something very basic, like a shoulder tackle.
No. Most people parodying pro wrestlers are at least funny, or they can do something right.
Oh, I don't know. I laughed.
He cannot do anything right.
He would do something very rudimentary, like a shoulder tackle where the other guy fell down and he did not, and then he would celebrate. Ah! And he'd go like this, and there would be as many cheers in the building as there are in the studio, which is none. I may have gotten a louder pop than Stevie did. So this goes on for a bit, and eventually the Jersey dudes try to interfere. The timing is all sorts of fucked up. So here's what happened. Stevie hits his pedigree. As he's rolling Canyon over, Paige and Bigelow are already coming into the ring. And Stevie makes a cover, and they're right there, but this is the finish. So, gentlemen, just stand there and wait for the referee to do his job and count 3.
Oh, the referee, you say? Who was the referee? Nick fucking Patrick.
I don't see how this could be his fault.
Okay, so he's over here, okay?
Yeah.
The move gets hit. This fucking guy can't just drop down right there and count. He has to run all the way around the ring. He
check
literally
shoulders.
goes all the way around the ring. He drops all the way down. He lays on his side like he always does. And then, I guess just to prove that Starrcade, whatever, 1, 2, 3. Fucking Dallas Page is standing there over him with his arm up like this to drop an elbow, waiting. He's levitating in midair. Finally, Patrick hits a 3 and DDP's hits this fucking guy. Patrick cannot do anything right.
That's fair.
And he's been around forever.
He grew up in the business.
Now, granted, DDP probably got in the ring a little too early,
Oh, yes.
but when you're the ref,
All you have to do is stay on the floor until the 3 count.
not even that, when you're the ref and you see that the guy's in a little early, fucking run and count. Don't meander your way on over there and I'm going to make sure this is a full 3-second count and not 1 split second shorter.
So they beat him up until Booker T made the save. Arliss is on the show. He is at the announce desk. He's plugging the WCW guys appearing on his show. He's sure to point out that all the other channels won't have these guys on. NBC won't have them, CBS won't have them, but HBO is brave enough to put the WCW guys on TV.
That was the key. When he first started, he's talking about how these other channels won't have WCW on. And the announcers are looking at him like, are you fucking burying us? And then finally goes, only HBO is brave enough. And then Heenan's like, yeah.
Randy Savage versus Billy Kidman, a match I am not making up.
Can we talk about George's heels?
They were really big.
She had 2-foot heels on. Am I wrong?
They're very, very large.
I believe you.
She was as tall as Randy Savage. In real life, she's 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's a legit 6-footer or more.
Or more, yeah. Yeah.
No Medusa, by the way.
Medusa,
She was there later.
Yes.
Well, not-
Something's happened.
Yes, something is happening.
Did you watch last week's show, Craig?
I watched most of it, and then I was informed that I didn't have to do the show, so I stopped.
Yeah. They had a bickering.
A bickering. you said.
Medusa and Miss Madness did. They had
I see.
a disagreement.
I
Thank God
gathered
you
that by
remember
the
that.
show.
Yeah. So Savage, by the way, cuts a match promo before the match, saying Nash is a dead man, So I guess Savage is a babyface. If Nash is a heel.
Sure.
They're feuding. And he also says he's going to run for president in the year 2000.
Of the United States.
Yes.
Let me Google that. Did that happen? No?
I
Okay.
suspect it was never mentioned again after
All
this
right.
promo. So, God bless Randy Savage, who goes out there with Billy Kidman, a guy way, way, way smaller than him, and way, 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 way down the totem pole, and went toe-to-toe with him. They had a back-and-forth match
Kind of.
until the end.
This was the funniest match because I felt like he didn't give him anything, but at the same time, he gave him a ton of spots.
I see.
Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
I
actually.
keep looking around, and the women are trying to interfere but get thwarted over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
But like in between that, he's just killing the guy. It was bizarre. It was like, I'm going to kill you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then the women are going to try to interfere, but you're going to thwart it. And then I'm going to kill you again.
Well, I did say toe-to-toe. I did not say he even the whole match.
It was just weird.
I did like Randy Savage choking him with Slim Jims.
Hey,
I did pop for that.
Yes.
I ain't gonna lie.
So finally, Savage catches him with a pile driver, a body slam, and the big elbow for... I don't know why they couldn't do this for the finish, but he pulls Kidman up at 2.
important to have a DQ. We don't want to hurt Kidman.
Savage punches out the ref, hits another elbow, and who should make the save but Dennis Rodman?
Excuse me, Dennis Rodman?
The Worm, Dennis Rodman, yes.
Dennis Rodman came out wearing this outfit that one of Prince's men had to take back because Prince said it was too flashy.
It was not jeans and a t-shirt.
No.
No, he stood out. He was flamboyant. They were also in Illinois, so of course he was beloved. And he comes out. He attacks Savage. Arliss hits the ring to talk to Rodman. Now Gene's in the ring interviewing Arliss and Dennis Rodman. Technically, at this point, the match was still going on. There was no bell. So Arliss tells Rodman he can make money if he doesn't blow it. Security is holding Savage back. Arliss then books a match for the pay-per-view. Arliss...
This didn't take place, right?
I don't think so.
As I recall...
I gotta find out.
As I recall, what was the company that was doing the shows in Australia after WCW died?
I don't remember.
I think Savage and Rodman did a main event on one of those.
Oh my god.
So apparently Arliss knew it was
No,
going
it
to
did happen.
What?
They fucking went 11 minutes.
When?
It rode wild.
Oh, well, I was wrong. It happened there. Happened much earlier.
I gotta watch that.
Why?
Dude, when Arliss was trying to put that match together, I was like, this is just some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just playing a character because they're on HBO. They're not really setting this match up. Because I was just thinking about it. Savage can barely move.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped that elbow on Kidman. He could barely get up afterwards. And I just thought, this sounds like the most horrific match you could possibly put together. There's no way Rodman Savage could be good. Now I find out they went 11 minutes on this pay-per-view. I have to watch
In a
this.
singles match. So, yeah, Arliss gets this match booked. Now, Savage threatens to make Rodman his bitch, to which Rodman responds by presenting himself.
Yes.
Suddenly, Medusa's in the ring brawling with Miss Madness.
Actually, it wasn't. She was in the ring, but she couldn't get to Miss Madness.
There were so many other people.
There were so many other
Yeah.
people. So she was kind of like stalking him.
She was merely about.
Yes.
Was
It's like,
biding her time.
There's Medusa.
Yeah.
Oh, now she's attacking.
So Medusa and Miss Madness have a brawl that is 1,000 times more intense than Randy Savage versus Dennis Rodman.
Right.
Eventually, security stops holding the men apart. Rodman just saunters off. Savage disappears, and the security dudes are fighting to keep the women separate. And it ended.
Yeah. This is where I started really losing my interest in this show.
There was a lot going on in this segment.
I forgot
Mostly
about
with Dennis's outfit.
I watched this show and drove here, and I'd forgotten most of that by the time I arrived.
Okay, so I got the Observer Road Wild 1999 review. So let's see what Dave gave that match. Anybody want to make a prediction?
I'm predicting minus a star.
I'll be a little more optimistic and say a half star.
Randy Savage pinned Dennis Rodman in 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Rodman was the only one the crowd saw as a star. He's talking on the whole show.
Sure.
Here in Sturgis. He gave it Star and a quarter.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Now you're even more intrigued.
I have to see this. I have to.
If only there was a way we could watch this.
A lot of it was brawling backstage, so they pre-filmed a lot of it.
I see.
That probably helped. Should we go on, or are you...
They can go on.
Okay. Conan versus Vampiro. So last week, they're doing this big match. A dream match in Mexico.
Saw this.
I got one more thing I have to say.
I knew I should have waited.
The main event, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, dud.
Yeah?
Rodman and Savage had a better match.
Significantly.
than Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash.
I have zero doubt of that, actually.
Wow.
The only one who could move at this point was Rodman.
Which, by the way, we'll find out was a loser must retire match.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
At a Road Wild 1999. All right. I'm shutting the window here, so go ahead.
So last week, they have what would have been a dream match in Mexico 3 or 4 years earlier in the opener on Nitro. And apparently nobody clued Vampiro in that you can't use chairs on the outside in WCW. And he got disqualified in what appeared to not be the planned finish. So here, a week later, they do the big rematch. They wrestle for a minute, and the insane clown posse hits the ring for the DQ.
Still going strong, baby. 19 years later.
And it appears that Raven is with them.
Raven is with them now, although Raven's smart enough to stand on the apron and smirk.
I have virtually no memory of this period, but I will say the crew of Raven, ICP, and Vampiro
That is what it is.
sounds awesome.
It does.
How can they fuck this up?
As I recall, Raven leaves soon and is replaced by the Great Muda.
What?
Yeah, I swear to God. I promise.
I'm so turning the corner. I got to rewrite this book. WCW is way more entertaining. WWF sucks. It's fucking period. I mean, they still lost. Nothing's changed.
It
But
was too hard on this company by Brian Alfred.
yeah. Of course, in the next segment.
So ICP beats up Conan. Ray runs out. He gets triple teamed too. Ray, by the way, Ray Jr. came in earlier to shake hands with Eddie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was in street clothes then.
Right.
He goes backstage. He comes out in this segment. He's in different street clothes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He was dressed as Gilligan.
I guess.
He was dressed as Gilligan.
Yes.
He had Gilligan's hat. He had Gilligan's Hawaiian shirt. He was Gilligan.
So Conan's the skipper?
Absolutely.
Okay. And Mike Tenay's the professor.
No,
This is working
the
out.
skipper had the Hawaiian shirt. Gilligan had that red
Okay.
button-up shirt thingamajigger.
Well, Ray stole the skipper's
Yes.
the shirt.
Anyway, Violent J did a moonsault, and the camera missed it to zoom in on Raven smirking.
Yeah. On Ray.
On Ray.
Ray Mysterio voluntarily took a leg drop off the top rope from Shaggy 2 Dope
Yes.
and a moonsault from Violent J.
Yeah.
The way he said Shaggy 2 Dope, I could see the 2.
Yeah.
So that's his name.
Yeah. That is his name.
Shaggy 2 Dope.
Don't make fun of me, Craig.
Not making fun
Don't
of
make
you.
fun
I
of
just-
Shaggy.
I'm painting a damn picture here on the radio.
I know, and it's a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
my friend.
They spent several minutes recapping Hulk Hogan's return last week. Why?
It's Hulk Hogan. What the fuck do you mean, why?
He's already been on the show 5 times.
They're paying him like $100 million. He's going to be on the show 25 more times.
Oh, here we go.
Buff Bagwell comes out dressed as the cat.
In
In
blackface.
blackface.
Well, yes.
Fuck.
I noted that as well. Yeah, it was 1999. Buff danced way, way, way better than I was expecting.
If he would have said "mammy, mammy," I would have shut the thing off.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
Yeah.
Can we edit that off the video?
Why?
Let's talk about it.
I wasn't in blackface. It was
fucking
Buff.
segment was.
So someone is dressed as Sonny Ono. I think Shawn Michaels' future wife was out there. It was one of the Nitro girls.
No, it was Che.
It was the Asian girl.
Yeah. This was definitely not
Whis-
Shawn Michaels.
Whisper
Whisper
is-
was
Whisper.
his wife.
Yes.
I apologize.
The buxom brunette.
It was Kimberly.
No, the other one.
So anyway, he goes down there. He spoofs the Shat.
Yeah.
Shat finally runs down. They get into a brawl. And like, I'm sympathetic for Ernest Miller.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, what do you mean, really? What the fuck did he do to deserve this? This fucking white guy comes out in blackface.
Okay, that's-
is
that's-
fucking spoofing
Okay.
him
That's
like a
uncalled for.
complete asshole.
That's called for.
He
Well, you
runs down,
recall
beats the shit out of him. He beat the shit out of him. He left Bagwell laying.
that did happen. Well, last week
Was this Raw last week? I've never seen a more pathetic babyface than Buff Bagwell in this segment.
So this is Buff's revenge because last week Kat knocked him out with a loaded shoe and counted a pin that had Sonny Ono counted, so it didn't count. So this is Buff's revenge to dress up like him, make fun of all his catchphrases, make fun of his dancing, make fun of beating up the fans. He's
And his race.
He did that as well. He's from Georgia. That's what they do down there. So,
Oh, my God.
The hate mail.
Can we end the show?
Vince at Verheide.
I apologize. That was terrible. So he's also wearing a velvet suit and sweating his balls off.
Join the club.
He says he has someone out there as Sonny Ono, and then talks with the Nitro girl and says, "This is Sonny, oh yeah." He's making jokes about how fat Cat's mom is. I guess he was kind of a dick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No shit.
So
You think I just make this up for fun?
yes, Cat runs out and they brawl, and Cat lays him out with a loaded shoe again, and Sonny counted 3 again, and that's it.
Brain dead segment.
Saturn and Chris Benoit versus Kurt Hennig and Barry Windham. So Kurt Hennig for like 3 months now, maybe longer, as long as this West Texas Rednecks thing has been going on, he has been just a comedy guy who gets in the ring and goes through the motions and doesn't care. And then he gets in the ring with Chris Benoit, and suddenly he's a fighter again.
He had to be. They were beating the shit out of each other.
Yes. So these guys are going at it. All 4 Cowboys are out there interfering all the time. Saturn gets a hot tag, and he's just totally out of control, suplexing dudes all over. He punches Hennig right in the mouth and immediately realizes his mistake because all his punches after that were a lot lighter. And he catches Hennig in the rings of Saturn, and the Cowboys attack for the DQ.
I was done with this show at this point. After the blackface and this fucking finish, I was just sick of it.
As I wrote here, why do they bother doing matches on the show?
And then Shane Douglas.
Yeah.
Shane Douglas runs in to make the save for Benoit and Saturn. Shane Douglas.
Well, Demon Lane
Okay. So, if you were reading all of the newsletters, paying attention to what was, whatever the internet was back then, you could figure this out. But like watching this 19 years later, only watching Nitro, this fucking guy runs in and he starts talking about when people are holding you down,
Right.
you gotta step in front of them, bash their brains in with a stop sign, and take your spot back.
Yeah.
There's a cancer here in WCW who says, and we all know who I'm talking about. I thought, there's 2.5 million people who have no fucking idea who you're talking about, dude.
And they needs to be more specific on which cancer it is.
That's a better point.
Dude.
I thought Shane's promo was awesome.
It was fine.
I have not always been a huge Shane Douglas fan, but his promo here was great. And this, well, now it's a quartet, but this group of Benoit, Malenko, and Saturn desperately needed a mouthpiece, and Shane's a fine mouthpiece.
Well, it definitely needed a mouthpiece.
Yes.
I'll give you that one.
So I thought this was a win. Hogan Nash Savage video package, apparently building to a 3-way, I guess. I don't know. Then we had Hulk Hogan versus Sid.
Well, you know, because I just read you the Road Wild card.
Yeah, I don't know why they did a Hogan Nash Savage video package. So, fun with the network. We're watching Hogan strut down the aisle to the NWO theme, and Scott Hudson's saying, "There's Hogan again to Voodoo Child," because they can't play it on the network. Mm-hmm. So, you had every Hulk Hogan versus the Giant match you ever saw, only slower.
Sure.
But it worked. It fucking worked.
I saw him wrestle this match with Kamala.
Yeah.
I saw him wrestle this match with Andre the Giant.
Yes. King Kong Bundy,
Sure.
One Man Gang,
Big
probably
John
Killer
Studd.
Khan, did John Studd. They did some stuff. Sid stalled for a long time. They threw each other in the other end of the turnbuckles, and Hogan tried to body slam, and he fell down with a big guy.
Oh, no. The worst.
Sid works over the knee, goes to a Cobra clutch. He misses a leg drop. Hogan hulks up, and Nash attacks for the DQ.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I will give them credit. Sting comes down, he gets beaten up, and then they hit Goldberg's music. Goldberg has been gone for so long
Yeah.
that his music had to play for like 10 seconds before the fans figured out, what's this music?
This was more fun with the network. I believe in real life, this is when he was using the Megadeth song.
Oh, that's why it was so bad.
Because you could even hear the announcers saying, "What's this music happening? What is this?"
I see.
And then Goldberg appears.
Hey, the place went absolutely hog wild,
Goldberg
road
remains awesome.
wild.
When
Ape
Goldberg
shit for this guy.
picked up the very large Rick Steiner and easily pressed him over his head and left him up there,
That's impressive.
like he forgot. He's a big, strong, scary dude. And so the show ended with Hogan, Sting, and Goldberg, who have been fighting each other for years. Now they are suddenly all buddy-buddy. And they're standing in the ring and having to stare down with the completely bizarre trio of Kevin Nash, Sid, and Rick Steiner. And I don't know when the payoff for that was.
Well, I'm sure it was probably supposed to be Scott Steiner, but his back's all messed up.
I guess that'd be less weird.
I just love that Goldberg runs down. He's killing everybody. He's press slamming dudes and everything like that. And the fans are going crazy for Goldberg. So Hogan turned to the ref and goes, "Raise my arm, brother." The ref raises his arm and everyone's cheering. I was like, you are incredible.
He's the man.
You're incredible.
He's the man.
This felt like a hot product.
It did, actually.
It got massacred by Raw. Massacred.
I looked it up. It was 6.25 to 3.5.
Almost double.
Yeah, it's almost double Raw's current rating, I might add.
That also is true.
Here in 2018.
Yikes.
Brian, we haven't done this in a while, but do you have my music?
I sure do.
The finishes on this show were no finish due to both guys running to the parking lot. Clean pin. Submission after shenanigans. Pin after shenanigans. Clean pin. Pin after shenanigans. And here we go. No finish due to worm. DQ due to juggalos. DQ due to cowboys. DQ due to big sexy.
Sounds fucking awesome.